Hi, this is Jessica DeMassa with the Guidewell Insights Lounge. I'm here with Dr. Vonda Wright, and she is the medical director for the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex. So hi, welcome.
I'm so glad to be with you today.
Glad to have you here. So I know you're speaking a little bit later in the conference, and you're talking about the future of orthopedic surgery. So tell me a little bit about what you envision for the future. What's coming down the pike?
So as an orthopedic surgeon, one of the best tools for active aging and staying, like I like to say, healthy, vital, active, joyful until the minute we're not around is mobility.
Okay.
Because we know that mobility and even 30 or 60 minutes a day will stave off the ravages of the 33 chronic diseases that kill us, all the things that this conference is trying to cure. And as a mobility doctor, I'm happy to tell you it's a walk around the park is really what we need. But when I look at the future of orthopedic surgery, I'm really excited about three areas. The first is, I don't want any of these inventions to ever take us away from our patients. I've been taking care of people for about 30 years now, between what I did in college and throughout my practice, and we will never be able to replace this kind of interaction because people are always going to need to touch their doctors. So no matter what the invention is, I'm always going to be the surgeon at the bedside. So that's number one, not to forget. But number two is, we had a fascinating talk this morning about prosthesis and how we can print them. But I'm going to go a step further and tell you about the amazing work of one of my partners, where the endoprosthesis is actually put into the bone that's left over from the amputation or the tumor, and it ingrows. And then we hook the patient's actual nerves to neurosensors, and the arm becomes one with the person.
That's amazing.
Just like bionics or Star Trek or something. So that is today. So in the future, there will be less of a line between machine and man. And we're doing it in orthopedics right now. And the third area that I'm really excited about in orthopedics is harnessing the power of our own bodies to heal themselves.
Okay.
We're talking a lot about monitoring what our bodies are up to, but we are no longer having to use only metal to take care of arthritis. I do a lot of procedures now to preserve cartilage using my patient's own body or donor tissue from someone else, so that instead of a partial knee replacement with metal, I replace it with a biologic. And the human body loves natural tissue. So those are the three areas for orthopedics that I'm really excited about.
That's amazing. Well, and one of the things that you mentioned, and I wanted to jump onto this because I know you've written several books about this and you speak about this, is the concept of active aging.
Active aging,
So talk to me a little bit more about that. And so from your perspective, you said mobility is key.
Mobility is key.
Tell me what else.
So, there's a big push in this country, and not amongst here, I have not heard this word yet, but anti-aging, but we are into longevity. But when I hear people talk about anti-aging, I remind them that from the minute of conception until the minute of our death, we're aging, and it's natural. And so what we need to do is optimize it. And as a mobility doctor, we do it by active aging. And so what that means is we're trying to compress the morbidity that sometimes does come at the end of the life. So I took one of those online tests about how long are you going to live based on your lifestyle, and it told me that I would live 92 years and 86 of it would be healthy. So, well, I'm wondering what's happening in the last 5 or 6 years of my life. But if I can compress it by all these things, by active aging, by getting out, being mobile, we are designed to move. If you look at the human body, the largest muscles are below the waist.
Right.
Our architecture is purposeful. I mean, nature is very purposeful. If we were meant to be sitting around, we would be shaped like a mushroom instead of having two strong legs. So active aging is just that, harnessing it. And the research that I do really proves that if we take the variable of sedentary living out of lives, we can maintain lean muscle mass and bone density and brain function and all the things that the research has shown. It's actually true in live people, so it's really encouraging.
That's great. And I know one of the other things that you had mentioned that is of particular interest to you is you've got several children who are now they're millennials.
Right.
And so tell me some of the work that you're doing about figuring out what millennials want in terms of health care.
So several years ago, I started a large women's conference because women make 80% of all the healthcare decisions in this country. So if I can educate and inspire and do research on them, I'm going to change the whole country's health. But when I looked at who is the next most powerful generation after baby boomers? It's the millennials.
Right.
But I can tell you from talking to my own children that their ideas of health are very different from ours, and I wanted to explore that. So we did some basic research, and 7 trends came out of it, and 3 are very interesting. Number 1, don't call it health. It's not health as we perceive it. It seems to be something more about our state of existence. It's not exercise, nutrition, even mental health. It's all of those things. And we need to find a better word because that's the way they're thinking. The second trend is obviously they don't want prescription, they want prevention.
Sure.
And how are we going to forward that? The third very interesting trend is unlike the 70s, they do not view sex as a pleasure zone. They view it as policy. They're interested in things like the terrible description of uterine sparing and freezing eggs, and the research brand uterine sparing is a bad thing. But how do we prolong reproduction in this country, and what does it mean policy-wise?
Sure.
But here's the kicker for all of you, the entrepreneurs here. I asked them, well, how are we going to pay for this, and how much money would you be willing to spend as an individual? And across the board, they are willing to spend 25% of their disposable income on those things that will keep them well, above health insurance. So they're willing to put their money where their mouth is. So now our next step is to really do the qualitative type research and put numbers to all these trends.
Excellent.
It's exciting.
Excellent. What was the trend that surprised you the most?
I think it saddened me the most to hear that millennials in general do not trust healthcare.
Okay.
And they don't even want to go to the doctor. They're going online because something has instilled in them that they can't trust the medical system. And we really have to reverse that without losing the personal touch the art of medicine.
So really, from your point of view, I'm very curious to ask, and to wrap up too, is so you're looking at both active aging and you're looking at millennials.
I know, it's
and
both spectrums.
both sides of the spectrum. And I'm wondering, from your perspective,
right.
What has you most optimistic about the future of healthcare?
I am most optimistic because of the exponential nature of what we're doing. In the last 2 or 3 years, even in my practice, it's exploded. And so I think we're really at a pivot in this country from healthcare to healthy. And that's what makes me most excited.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to a future that is more healthy than just focused on healthcare. So thank you so much for joining us here, Dr. Vonda Wright. We really appreciate it. I'm Jessica DeMassa with the GuideWell Insights Lounge. Thanks so much.